It's hard for you to forgive because you don't know how to forgive yourself. Everything starts with the self. If you don't know how to do things for you, how can you do it for other people? Yep, just like you, I was told to put other people before myself and that to think of others instead of myself. But Jesus commands us to love our neighbors as ourselves. So how exactly can we extend the same things to other people without being able to extend it to ourselves? Now, if you're a perfectionist like I used to be, it's probably really hard for you to forgive other people. That's because you have expectations that people should fit or boxes that they should fit into, and a lot of the time they are unrealistic. I'm sorry. When these people can't fit into these boxes, then you become disappointed. This disappointment will lead you to lack of grace and lack of compassion and lack of forgiveness because you are holding on to this idea that they should fit into this expectation that you have, that you're just like, okay, I'm gonna throw it out now because it's useless. It's not able to fit what I need. The sad thing is, this behavior comes from when we were kids, right? So a lot of us probably had very unforgiving parents where, you had to do certain things a certain particular way, and if you didn't meet it, then I'm not going to show you any love, or I'm not going to give you this. And the love was very conditional and transactional, and we kind of carry those tendencies with us when we develop relationships, whether they're romantic or even just friendships, right? So if you meet people and they don't meet expectations that you set for them, then all of a sudden they're just not worthy of being friends. Let me tell you something. Perfectionism is often rooted in fear of not being able to control things. And that is something we all possess. If things don't go a certain way, we get anxious. And a lot of the times we have probably experienced some form of chaos, traumatic events that we had no control over. And, we feel like if we have control over how something looks or someone behaves, how a certain situation turns out, then we have control. But the reality is, this is just an illusion or facsimile of control. So when you're unable to forgive people, you hold on to bitterness and anger and resentment. And the thing is, this does you more of a disservice than the other person, because a lot of the time, what people do to not meet your expectations aren't personal. One, because they probably didn't even know they were supposed to meet it, because again, it was probably something incredibly unrealistic, or it's something you never communicated with them in the first place. So now they're demonized because they're not meeting some expectation that you never even spoken about in the first place. Spending all this time stressing out about things not being a certain way, going a certain way, or people not being a certain way is a trauma response to this unconditional love we were shown at by our parents. As somebody who used to be a perfectionist and had a lot of perfectionist tendencies, I can tell you it was an absolute waste of time and stress. I had to learn how to let go of the need to control things and to learn how to change my mind about a situation, my mindset, as opposed to trying to change the situation itself. I know any perfectionist will probably hate this, but you have to develop this is a good enough mentality, because nothing can ever really truly reach perfection. Unless you're Jesus, then you're perfect. It is through our imperfections as human beings that makes us beautiful, and despite the fact that we are technically not good in the eyes of God, He still loves us anyways. When you truly come to grasp what conditional love looks like and how merciful and how gracious it is, you will learn to extend that towards yourself. And once you're able to extend that to yourself, you can finally extend that to other people and truly come to understand how to forgive and set yourself free from anger and bitterness and resentment that is such an ugly feeling and such a heaviness in your heart that is just so freeing to get rid of. The thing is, forgiveness requires a lot of humility on your part. And to be able to humble yourself to the point where you can look at yourself and know that you're not perfect, but know that you're worthy of love anyway, and same with other people, you will set yourself free. Humility is a scary concept, especially to perfectionists, because they don't want to believe that they're not perfect. They don't want to believe that there's something wrong with them. But unfortunately, that is something that we all need to overcome, because we acknowledge that there is work that needs to be done in us, then we can also acknowledge that there's work to be done in other people. And you start to learn how to not take things personally, because a lot of the times what people do has nothing to do with us, and that is kind of relieving at the same time. Thing is, a lot of people don't like the idea of not being perfect because, again, going back to childhood, we felt like we needed to be perfect or possess perfection in order to attain the love of our parent. But the good news is you don't need any of that to be loved by God. And being loved by God is the one that matters the most.